want to talk to you about your friend Cheyenne Scott. Start out by telling me, how you met, where you met, and talk about your friendship a little bit.
Yeah, we met about the way that you meet anybody in a small town like where we came from, or a small area, very rural area. It's at field parties or just gatherings in general. We went to different schools. We were separated by a few years in age. So I met her, I think it was at a party or something of that nature, and we just introduced each other. We became friends, and that's just really how it is out here. If you don't know somebody through sports or through school or just through a mutual friend, you probably end up meeting them at a party, because there's not that much stuff to do around here. Like, we don't have like go-kart racing tracks and rock climbing and all that stuff. You go to the movies or you go to a party. That's about the extent of the entertainment here if you're a teenager or a 20-something. We just happen to know a lot of the same people, and we had been in the same vicinity a lot of times. And I mean, she stands out in a crowd. Like, there aren't a lot of people that look like her. She's got a unique, different look to her, but we didn't know each other. So we kind of saw each other. We're like, hey, I've seen you around. Hey, I've seen you around. And we just came to know each other that way. It's one of those things where if you've been around somebody so many times, but you don't introduce yourself out here, then you probably don't like them. So it's a way of you saying, hey, I don't have a problem with you just because we've never spoken before and been around each other. That's how small like our community and our cities and towns are. Despite how I appear on shows and stuff like that, and it's something that you brought up before too, I'm a little bit introverted. Like, in person, when I first meet people, I kind of keep back a little bit, but I love socializing. I love going out. I love hanging out with my friends. I'm not a drinker. I don't do anything like that. And really, she was introverted in kind of the same way. So it sort of was like that, hey, we're going to sit off to the side type of thing. And we just started to talk. We became good friends. And the thing that I liked so much about Cheyenne was, if she could tell you were a good person, she was fiercely loyal to you. Cheyenne and I always kept in touch with her as best I could. She battled a lot. Like, she battled some addiction, and she was, quite frankly, gone quite a bit to where I couldn't reach her. Like, there were a couple times where she was, quite frankly, she was either incarcerated or trying to go through rehab to overcome her addiction. So when it would go a few months without, like, I would go a few months without hearing from her or anything, I would wonder, like, is it that? Is she okay? And then I would constantly, when I would find out that she was back in town, I would be like, hey, come out with us. She would tiptoe around hanging out with us. Like, she would say, yeah, we'll do that sometime. But it wouldn't happen. And I was like, man, that's odd. That's really odd. And then I ran into her at Walmart, and I noticed, like, her features were swollen. And I was like, did she gain weight while she was gone? Like, what happened? I didn't know that she was, like, in the early stages of cancer. I had no idea. And then one of her family members, after I saw her, told me that. But then when they told me that, I was like, oh, that makes sense. That explains why she doesn't want to come out. That explains why she sent me that message afterwards. That explains why she hasn't been hanging out with any of our friends. That explains a lot of things. And when you hear about someone that age who, quite frankly, has seemed indestructible in the past, having something like that, your first reaction is, oh, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. It'll work itself out. And as time went on and it became more clear that wasn't happening, that was, I don't want to say humbling. It was very jarring and very flooring, because, like I said, she seemed like a bit of an indestructible person. She didn't shake easily. She wasn't easy to rattle or anything like that. And this very clearly had her rattled to the point to where she didn't want to socialize, and that was very unlike her.
I can understand. I mean, sometimes, people they're having difficulty with it. They don't want to be reminded of it over and over again. So in Cheyenne's case, unfortunately, it was on March 21st, 2017 that she passed away. She was 2 weeks away from her 26th birthday.
Yeah.
So very young. 2 weeks away
Very
from her 26th birthday. After that happened, you decided to do something that, you want to talk about dedication and sacrifice. What you decided to do took both. Walk me through why you decided to do this, to explain what it is that you did, why you decided to do it, and yeah, just tell me the details.
So I mentioned, like, in not knowing a lot of the details about somebody who was a very good friend of mine. Like, I feel like maybe I had some guilt about that. Like, I should have pushed harder. I should have pushed for more information. It was every single month I was trying. And then the last few months, she was like, I don't want you to see me like this. So I was like, you know what? I think it'd be a nice thing if I grew out my hair to the point to where I could donate it. And yeah, it was one of the most long-term dedicated things that I had ever done, and I'm so happy that I did it. So happy that I did it. This is something that I think that if she were around and she knew, she'd be like, that's awesome. I appreciate that you did that. So that's what I wanted to go with.
So for the next, how long did you grow your hair out? Was it 3 years?
Yeah, it was about 2 months shy of 3 years, and the original plan was roughly 3 years. Quite honestly, I was like, oh, I'll have this grown in a year. What's it matter? Maybe 2.
But when you decided that you were ready to cut it, Sean and I talked about how can we bring attention onto this so that we can promote the charity that you had chosen.
I had heard about it from Daniel Bryan. When he did a promo in the ring, he talked about cutting his hair, and he said that he donated it to Wigs for Kids. And I was like, man, that's a cause. That's a great cause. I worked with children at Boys and Girls Club of America for a long time. My wife and I don't have kids, but there's nothing more innocent than a kid, especially one that has had so much taken away from them.
So the time came to do the haircut, and Sean and I, like I mentioned, we were throwing around ideas. What can we do to bring attention to this so that we can promote the cause and not just promote the charity, but promote Sean's initiative too. So there was a brand new wrestling company at that time called AEW, All Elite Wrestling, and they launched a weekly national television show live every Wednesday on TNT in the US, on TSN in Canada. They had a group at that time, an act. And basically what that act would do is they would defeat their opponent in the ring, they would cut a lock of their hair, and they would keep it as a trophy. And so I sent a tweet on December 20 of 2019. I sent a tweet to Brandy Rhodes. Brandy Rhodes is the chief brand officer of AEW, but it just so happened that she was also involved on television with that group called the Nightmare Collective. That was the name of the act. So I sent a tweet to her, and within an hour, Brandy Rhodes got back to me on Twitter and basically said, absolutely, we'll do it. She said it in character, so to speak, because her character at the time was a bad guy. But she said, absolutely, we'll do it. She said, let's set it up.
After that, I'm walking around, and they could see me reach into the back of my head like, oh my God, my hair looks ridiculous. And it was kind of in that moment, definitely a different situation than what Cheyenne went through. But I realized how self-conscious I was about the haircut that I was walking around with. Then I was like, wait, what does it matter? What does it matter? Because this was the point. Mm-hmm. The whole thing was the point. And the point was, what does it matter? What does it matter if somebody laughs? What does it matter if somebody points? What does it matter if somebody jokes? What does it matter if somebody else has something to say? Because the people that I know love me, and the people that I know care about me, and the people that I know that support me don't care. It was like a full circle thing, Jimmy. Like, I was like, okay, I am not going through any adversity, and I was self-conscious in that moment. This girl that I loved and cared about and adored was going through the most adversity you could possibly go through, and she was self-conscious. I wish that she wasn't, but she was, and I kind of understood now. And I don't want to say it put a bow on it, but it helped a lot of the healing, because I think about her every single day. She was a good friend of mine. Still think about her every single day, but I kind of understood her more in that moment, if that makes any sense.
Sure, it's almost like it helped you get closure, sort of. So now I want to talk about the aftermath. Tell me about the aftermath. I know that there was a ton of positive feedback.
the positive reaction was just overwhelming. And the point of this for me, because some of the people that were being negative, Jimmy, they're like, oh, you did it for attention. Yeah, I did do it for attention. I did it to get attention on the cause that we were working for.
Yep.
I wanted more people to grow out their hair and donate it. That's what I wanted. I wanted somebody that already had long hair and maybe they were just going to get it cut. Maybe they would donate it now. Maybe they would grow out their hair for 3 years. Maybe they would do that. Tim Traver, one of our very loyal viewers, did that. He's doing that right now and has been doing that since then. That makes me so happy. That I never understood the power of a platform until I had one. And it's like I'm not the type of guy that can just give financially in the way that other people can. But what I can do is kind of try to influence people to do positive things, and that was important to me. And Brandy Rhodes and Luther and AEW and Melanie and Awesome Kong, they can influence people to do positive things. And to me, the fact that they did that in the middle of them running a high-profile storyline on cable TV, I was like, okay, that made me happy too. That made me very happy. And seeing, like, in the comments, multiple people, because all I wanted was at least one to say, I'll donate my hair. Seeing multiple people say, I'm going to do this. I'm thinking about doing this. That was exactly what I wanted. That's what I was aiming for. That's what I was hopeful for, that they could help make somebody else more comfortable in their own skin and somebody else's hair, quite frankly. If they could help do that, that was the primary goal.
And because there was that miscommunication with the other charities' Twitter handle being posted by AEW, we made a financial contribution to both charities. And both charities, I think, got a lot of promotion out of it. So the one that you had chosen initially, they're the ones that received the hair donation, but both got a financial contribution. So yes. I thought everything worked out great in the end. Well, I think it was a cool thing that you did. Like I said, it took a lot of sacrifice and dedication on your part. And so what I'm going to do now is I am going to show the haircut, Sean. Thanks to AEW for connecting with us to do this. Again, I thought it was a great initiative on your part. I was really happy that AEW was part of it. I hope that Cheyenne's family liked it. And so again, this is Sean Rossat, managing editor of Fightful.com. Thanks for your time. And here's the haircut, courtesy of Sean and AEW. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
What's up, guys? Sean Rossap of Fightful.com here backstage at AEW Dynamite. And I see Brandy Rhodes, who I actually had scheduled. Brandy, you mind going ahead and... Okay, sure. Last week, all across social media, it looked like you had some memory loss, some cognitive issues. Is it safe for you to be here? Are you putting yourself at risk by being in this environment?
Listen, I'm really busy. The jokes land way better with these guys.
The Nightmare Collective, yeah. I wasn't scheduled for you guys, so my mouth didn't say yet. I think I'm good.
Stay still, friend.
Stay still? Why? I think I just joined a cult.